packed like sardines.
Like sardines. It's going to be like the Northern Line at 7:30 in the morning.
And no one's ever gone, I can't wait
To get on the Northern Line at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
All the way to Bang.
You're listening to The Big Drill.
And we are recording on The Big Drill.
We are finally live for another episode of The Big Drill.
A stocking festive filler.
And as always, Will is here by my side.
Hi, Ghazi.
Hello, Will, and I am Ghazi.
I just said that.
Bloody hell. Can you tell the listeners
Yep.
what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're talking about New Year's resolutions.
Because
There's not much bloody point.
Whoa, that was... You just threw your opinion in there.
Straight in.
So it's,
Baseball bat,
it's
out like
nearly
that.
January 2020.
End of a decade.
End of a decade, and it begins a new one.
Yep.
And why do you not believe there's a point in the resolutions?
Okay, right. I do believe there's a point. I just was very emotional then.
Wow.
Basically, I'm going to start with a stat.
A stat. Research man on the job.
Approximately 55% of those who commit to a resolution fail to maintain it 6 months later.
I mean, that's not that bad.
I know it's not that bad, it's just irritating.
45% is a decent chunk of humanity.
Yeah, but it doesn't then say how far the next bunch take it,
Well,
9 months.
at least 6 months.
Yeah, okay, right. And it's better than obviously nothing. It's just a very... I get frustrated, but at the same time I appreciate the position that people find them in, where they get the reason why people do it, in theory, the hypothesis behind it is that by making a New Year's resolution, you feel you're taking control over something.
Okay.
And people fundamentally like to have, or feel like they've got control over things, right?
Yep.
So by embarking on a New Year's resolution in an area of the life that they feel they've lost some sort of control over, whether it be fitness, alcohol consumption, especially over the festive period, what did I say? Exercise.
Well, you said fitness, but
Yeah, and then obviously the nutrition that goes with it. So like kind of the social elements, getting out of control, whatever, those kind of things. People go, I'm going to do dry January. That's it. Dry January. Dry January. Now, obviously for you, Ghazi, it's dry every month. So that would be...
It doesn't rain anywhere near me.
So effectively, but these people are like, things have got a little bit out of control, drinking excessively, whatever, potentially. So they kind of like get this, right, we're going to get control over this, and we're going to go from one extreme to the other. One extreme to the other. That's what my nan used to say.
So it's a on and off button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swing from one side.
And why
straight to
don't
the
you
other.
like that?
Well, I mean, I just think that, can we not just like have a little bit of moderation? You can still have a drink in January. Don't go dry January. Just have a drink. Just don't have 6 drinks in one night and then another 6 drinks the next night. Dry-ish January, if you will.
Dry-ish. It rains here and there.
A few sprinkling of showers.
But then what's the issue with completely stopping?
Because people then do everything, right? So they, and I've had this in a sense whereby people then jump onto the, I'm going to exercise 5 times a week from nothing, by the way, or from 1 time a week, whatever, to 5 times a week. That coupled with the fact they then drop down the calorie intake by, I'm going to 50%. Let's just randomly pull out a number.
Yeah.
They drop it down considerably. Okay, so like putting themselves into a calorie deficit. So you've got a shitload more exercise, shit less calories. It's cold. It's wet.
Yeah, the weather's pretty awful.
The weather's pretty awful.
In London, anyway.
Especially, yeah, you know. And then you're in a situation where you're putting the body under, you know, stress and such forth with low calorie. You're likely to have some sort of potential increase in getting ill, you know, or getting injured, or all these things. And the amount of people which over the years I've seen come in a January, and do you know, it's great that people want to start the new year on the best footing possible, but just do it with a little bit of common sense. Have a little think and go, right, actually what would be let's start with 2 times a week, 3 times a week, and then start to kind of step it up if we you know, have the energy to do so and the time, rather than adding more stress.
So that statistic you gave at the beginning,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I would love to know the statistic for people who decided to start going gym, not just because that was a blanket of any resolution.
Yeah.
It could have been, I don't know, it could have been easy ones that don't really take much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
It would be interesting to see if it was just the fitness ones or the eating ones or the alcohol ones, and seeing how successful those ones are. Because as you probably already know, and probably many of our listeners know, when January comes, it's like hell in the gym itself.
Sure.
You got flocks of people coming in that you've never seen before, and a lot of them you won't see for very long.
Which is a shame, because it's, like I said, it's really great that people make a decision to do that, but then again they put themselves in an environment which is not always the most, especially if you're a newcomer to the gym. January, in my opinion, is probably the worst time you could join a gym as a newcomer, because it's not going to be the most friendly environment. It's going to be very busy. It's going to be a lot of
Packed like sardines.
It's going to be like the Northern Line at 7:30 in the morning.
And no one's ever gone, I can't wait
To get on the Northern Line at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
All the way to Bank.
Not a single soul has ever said that.
But I think, you know, it's like, you know, that kind of, I mean, I personally think that, and I've had a few consultations with clients recently, and I've said, look, it's fine you don't want to start, you know, training until January, that's absolutely fine, but what I would advise, if you can and if you do have the time, just pop into the gym where you're likely to want to start and just get familiar with your surroundings. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe have a go on a couple of the machines, or, you know, find out where bits and bobs are that you feel you might want to start using in January, just so that you're not kind of overwhelmed by January. Well, I mean, it's never the first couple of days in January, because people are normally nursing hangovers and stuff, and then they go, right, gotta get my shit together now. I made this New Year's resolution. Where's my gym bag?
So I think the issue really is they're not mentally prepared.
Expectations.
So they sack it off to a future date. It's like, you know, when you're supposed to do homework, you know, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're never mentally ready to bloody do the homework. So you just kind of, I'll do it. So you set a date in the future.
Oh, mate, you've reminded me of something. Yeah, go on.
And then you go, I'll be ready then.
Yeah.
But you've done no revision, no preparation for this homework.
No.
You've just, if anything, you're going backwards.
Yeah.
Because you're eating whatever you want, you're drinking as much as you can.
Yeah.
It's you're not even. It's not that you're not even preparing. It's you're preparing to fail.
Well, I mean, like, when I was at university, there was a time period where I was like, right, okay, I'm pretty stressed with this work.
Yeah.
Like, going into the new year, I'm not gonna leave myself like rushing, because I think I was really late going home, getting back. I think everyone else had gone, and I was left stranded there thinking, shit, I wish I'd done this work earlier. So I thought,
I had those moments
I
many
can
times.
remember saying to myself, right, going into the new year, I'm going to start my assignments early. I'm going to do it.
Oh, so you were going New Year's resolution?
Yeah. Oh, I've made a couple in my time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that. No, I've never made a New Year's resolution, because I certainly have, and I've certainly been one of the 55 that's not carried it on past 6 months.
Fine.
So I'm sitting there and I'm going to start early, but then, and this I think like, you don't actually necessarily realise what you've got to do. So the situation then that prevailed was the fact that everyone else was like, nah, I ain't gonna bother starting mine early. So I've made this resolution. Like, everyone I've gone along with, or like with universities, basically leaving it to the last minute.
Yeah.
So by nature, I'm just gonna, well, I don't want to start now because no one else has started now, and then so, no, kind of like you're back in the,
you're easily persuaded because you can't be bothered yourself.
Social influence. Yeah. So you kind of, you to your point, you're setting yourself up for a little bit of a fail. And that kind of happens, I guess, in the
the real difference is, though, at least it has a deadline. The homework has deadline. It's going to come. Whereas with gym, there's no actual deadline. It's something you're going to have to try and stay committed to. And I don't think people realise the effort it actually does take. And I'm talking about brand new people who never want. They don't know what to expect, really.
Right.
It's like it hits them like, oh my gosh, this is quite hard.
Well, that's the thing where you kind of set yourself up in a kind of a mindset where you've, and this can be where, regrettably, I think it's called the Pelavia effect. I'm just trying to find it in my work, but where you're in a situation and you've had something's been presented to you, whereby you believe that it's going to be to solve your problems, right? So it can be a product like these, like the lose fat quick products and stuff like that. Basically, something's marketed to you.
Get abs in 28 days doing this workout.
Sure, never happens, but yeah, that kind of thing. So you get this. Here we go. It's called false hope syndrome. So it's by Pelavia and Herman. And you can kind of like, you get this sense of, right, basically, if you do this is your gym program, New Year's gym program, this is what you've got to do, make your resolutions, set your goals, abstain from anything fun for the next 3 months. And you kind of like set it up as a product, and the product can be anything. You can take that out and put in another product, right, that's going to solve your problem.
Yeah. So
then what happens is people come marching in and they're like buying this product or taking up the advice of the product that they've bought on Men's Health or something like that, and then they embark on this journey, and actually they've got this false hope because they believe it's the answer, and consequently they're not really given all the information about the product, about what you actually have to do, how you have to, the effort you've got to put in, the requirements that are needed to be able to embark on something and actually be successful from it. And so when you fail, or the product fails because it doesn't actually substantiate the support that it should do, then you feel like shit.
It hit hard.
And it hits hard, yeah. And it normally hits hard when you're not seeing any results around February time. Or you've got injured and then you've looked at your you've kind of looked at your Men's Health magazine. I say Men's Health, it could be any magazine, I'm not picking on Men's Health, but like you could look at any of the like online stuff that you've got, or the program that you've purchased, the PDF cookie cutter program you've purchased for like 50 quid that you think's the answer to your prayers. It doesn't tell you how to like something if you've got an injury, or how to like kind of take a step back if it's a little bit too intense or stuff like that. And that's really where you kind of like find yourself in a situation, or I've found clients that I've picked up around like February, March time, and like, through consultations where they've been actually feeling pretty shit about themselves. And it's just like, well, what have you been doing? And then they kind of like set the scene up and explain it, and I'm like, well, yeah, I get that,
What, they went in part of the Marines or something?
I think it's called
training.
I think the terminology is they went ham.
They went ham.
Yeah, is that right? I don't
go
know.
Hard or go home.
Yeah, is that what it stands for?
Oh. No, it doesn't. But that's another way of saying it. That might be more.
I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure what go ham means.
Go ham goes like go hard.
Yeah, sure. I'm not.
You're very hip.
I'm totally hip. shoot from the hip. Yeah, so I think it's definitely that kind of like matching of like requirements and expectations of what needs to be done, and you know, you can then the question then would be like, you need really a little bit of a gradual. You do need a gradual approach. I mean, I was delivering a webinar the other day, and I was like talking about the quick fix or the short sharp can work, but it can only really work if you've got someone that knows what they're doing, like a coach who can go, right, we're gonna go hard, we're gonna like drop this, drop that, you know, we're gonna put the effort in here, we're gonna execute this, but then they actually keep an eye on you and tweak and adjust where it's needed.
If you get an injury,
exactly,
or
if you come in and you look like you're drained of all kind of life,
sick.
or you're sick, you know, like, and then kind of like balancing what's right at that moment in time, while during the short sharp approach, but then gradually bringing in sustainable things like, is it really sustainable to hit the gym 6 days a week? Well, it might be for 3 weeks. You're not going to be doing it past that. You need to start thinking about,
depending, but on the average working
we're talking
person,
about who's back to work on January the 4th.
It's pretty difficult.
You're asking a lot, right? But yeah, New Year's resolutions are very very interesting. Have you ever made? I know you're not a. You celebrate New Year, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like celebrate it in like I'll go out and get drunk kind of thing, or wait for the 10-second countdown.
But you celebrate the fact you've made another year.
It's a new year. Yeah,
you're still breathing.
I'll be like, wow. Well, it used to be April was the new year.
Well, God,
that's why we have
the listeners.
April Fools.
My God, I can't believe I've led you into this.
Here we go. So
Ghazi's got Ghazi's got a story that he's very proud that he found out the other day. So I'd really appreciate it if you could listen to the story and maybe at some point give him a little bit of feedback and a kudos for it. Please, Ghazi, take us away.
So where April Fools originates from is the 1st of April. Used to be the beginning of the year, and then somewhere down the line someone goes, actually we're just going to make it January instead, so everyone started playing tricks on April Fools. What is that?
That's the bullshit button.
Don't take it out on me.
That's the bullshit button.
It's what happened.
No, but what did I tell you about this whole kind of somewhere down the line?
Somewhere down the line, someone can comment where it came from exactly. But either way, my point being is the day is man-made. Okay? When you chose the 1st of January, it was someone that wrote it down. He took his pen out, or her, whoever it was, probably was a he to be fair, and wrote it down. No, just because back then, you know, it wasn't as...
How do you know though? Try and dig yourself out of this one.
I'm saying probably. It could have been a woman.
Continue.
Wrote it down the same way as time is man-made. So you know when people were like, oh, 2012, what day was it? December? The 12th of December 2012 was going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I thought it was
whatever it was.
Year 2000 actually. The
whatever year
Millennium
it was.
Bug.
No one knows that because we made that date up.
So that's fair enough.
So the fact that you're waiting for a day, it doesn't really have that much significance.
Okay, so what you're saying here is make your own New Year's resolution, your own January the 1st.
Find the right time
whenever
for
you want.
you.
Whenever you want. The right time for you.
Yes. Why wait for a day that's probably not that good in terms of your life? Like, I don't know, maybe you've just got back to work and the last thing you want to do is go to the gym 6 times a week.
Yeah.
How about you go, here's my New Year's, and it could be April 1st.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it could be make it suit you. Reason why is your chances of succeeding will now increase because it's tailored to you.
I mean, that's probably the best piece of advice that's ever come out of your mouth.
Thank you. And
you should be proud of that.
That's what I would tell people.
Make your New Year's resolution whatever day you want, whenever you want, when it suits you, in order to be able to have best adherence to it.
Yeah, there's no rush.
There's no rush.
There really isn't a rush, so you can build yourself up to it. You can be like, oh, I want to go gym 6 times a week. It's the 1st of January. I'm going to try 2 times.
Yeah. So make changes in
Sustainable changes. Yeah. So I'm hitting this. I'm doing this really well. Let me now try 3, then 4, and then you hit 4 and you go, oh, getting a bit tricky now. Maybe if I make these, and before you know it, it could be March. But now you've managed to hit it on the nail on the head, and now you've got a sustainable way of achieving your New Year's resolution. It just happened to start in March.
Ghazi, nothing you've said there I disagree with.
There you go. Take that and keep it for the new year.
Apart from...
Oh, damn.
Unlucky.
No.
If there is some sort of medical incentive whereby the person needs to get their arse in gear and get things going, then, you know, like they've just been and had like a health check or a doctor's once over, for example, and there's a few health indicators that have been highlighted which probably could do with a little bit of attending to, then I think there should be an element of potency behind the action of behaviour change rather than too much fluffiness around taking your time.
Sure. And everyone's going to have their own, but this is what I mean, it's got to suit you.
Yeah.
So it still falls under the...
It suits
if
you.
If you've got to rush a bit...
Then rush a bit.
Unfortunately. But if that's what it's got to be, that's what it's got to be.
Also, one thing that I would say is, you know, from a New Year's resolution point, when you go into the gym, if you go in the gym on a Sunday...
Why Sunday?
Well, actually, I didn't mean Sunday.
What day did you mean?
A Monday,
okay,
or any
fine.
Day, doesn't matter. Any day in January. If you go in and you start and it's busy, just have. But this is a little piece of advice, because you've got the gym, you've got to the gym, you've got there.
That's the hard part.
So, kudos, high 5, high 10, fist pump. We're good. You've got to the gym. The worst thing that can happen, I've seen this happen, and my hand goes to my forehead.
You face palm.
Well, I don't face palm. It's more of a casual. Oh no. The person comes in, they have a look around, and clearly what they've got out their magazine or their online cookie cutter print off is basically they do not stand a chance that they're going to actually execute anywhere near any of those exercises in any timely fashion because it's so goddamn busy. The best thing that they can do is have a exercise regime that they can do, maybe mobility, stretching, a little bit of body weight stuff, a little bit of a Tabata hip body weight, something like that, that's effectively doable in a 6x4 foot space or even a smaller space
with
than
limited
that,
equipment,
with limited or no equipment alternatives, so that they can actually feel like they've achieved something in the new year, and if they've made that New Year's resolution, because a lot of people don't have the flexibility within their approach within the new year when they start coming into the gym and start exercising. So because they feel like they haven't been able to execute what they thought they were going to from a mindset point of view, then it creeps in, and it can creep in quite quickly that I've tried to get to the gym 4 times this week and I've actually only managed to do the workout once that I was meant to do. That's cool, just do another workout. Have a backup, have a plan B, C, and the last plan being a 6x4 foot space, which technically you could do at home, which is great, but if you've made the effort to get to the gym, that's a good habit to be creating. So, that would be a bit of advice.
I like that. Is there any other pieces of advice you would give them?
Make sure you're taking some like zinc, magnesium, vitamin C, just to have those kind of boosts of the immune system, so that you've got a little bit of a backup. Also, vitamin D is quite good, not necessarily for immune system per se, but just at this time of year.
Yeah, because it's true that amongst stuff like hospitals and schools, the gym's not the best place to be if you don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know that as much as anything.
Yeah.
We're kind of like in a situation where, if you can imagine, everyone goes from wherever they've flown off to or driven off to or visited families from all different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And then they've come back and they've come into the gym.
They're
and
touching all the pieces of metal.
It must be such a hive.
It's
keep your immune system
I wish
up.
there was like some sort of camera.
No,
that
we
can
don't.
watch.
No, we don't. No,
I
we
would
don't.
love to see
No, we
that.
don't.
I would.
We definitely don't.
100%. I'd go wow.
Would you?
Yeah.
I'm not using that.
No, I would still use it.
Oh.
But wow.
Unbelievable. Any advice you've got then?
No, I think the one I gave is probably as sound as it can get.
Sound.
Just because we're just so different.
We are.
Lives are so different. Everyone's going through their own shit. You can never truly know what someone's going through, so tailor it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Forget the everyone has to do it from 1st of January. Just take your time if you can. Yeah, that's
Cool.
it from me.
Excellent. Well, guys, Happy New Year.
Thanks for pushing the bullshit button. I do hope you guys have a very good Happy New Year.
Yep. Enjoy yourselves and make sure that you listen to the Big Drill next season.
Season 2 coming soon.
Coming soon.
And where do they find you on Instagram? Will?
I'm on Will Hawkins Coaching still.
And I'm still on Ghazi.92, so hit those follow buttons for us.
Perfect.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel too.
Come and have a look at some of the highlights of season 1.
Boom.
And then we'll see you next year.
Alright, goodbye guys.
Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Will,
And I'm Ghazi.
and thanks for tuning in to The Big Drill. You can also find us on these platforms here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find him on Insta,
Ghazi.92.
and me, Will Hawkins Coaching. The links are in the description. And until the next time we drill deep, goodbye.
Bye.